YAHTZEE! That's the good stuff right there. Oh. That's really heavy for a skinny extension cord. I think there's a very high copper content in that for one reason or the other. Let's see if I'm right. It's got some extra weight to it. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Nah, that's just normal. I don't know. That's just a lot. That's just a big long one, I guess, is why. You don't usually see ones that long made out of that double, skinny double deal. So that just kind of threw me off. I think it might weigh 5 pounds, 4 pounds for sure anyway. And this stuff here, little steel pipes. I'll snatch that up. Amazing, absolutely amazing amount of copper. Look at that. There's got to be at least a gram. Look, another one. Look at that. I got 2 grams now. Uh-oh. Wait a second. He was making fun of himself. Look what he ran into. Now it's not funny anymore. Look at that. Uh-oh. Stop making jokes now. I'd like to see some more of that stuff. Look at that right there. Oh, chunk of brass. Oh, there's more down in there. Lots of brass chunks coming out of there now. This dumpster got more interesting all of a sudden. I'm gonna turn the camera off. Just that little bit of stuff right there is, let's see, call that $2, $4. Clean that up there. That's $4.50, $5 worth of stuff, and that's why the prices are low. That would be almost about $8 worth of stuff a couple years ago. I usually don't check this dumpster. See that right there? Cardboard only. See, that could be someone illegally dumped that stuff in there. I could be wrong. Someone might have just made a mistake, but this might have been illegally dumped. So, and that's what makes people mad. That's one of the reasons why. If you go dumpster diving, someone might approach you, and they might be thinking that you're illegally dumping into their stuff, and they'll get upset. There was just a few more brass and copper bits in there, not much more. But I just yanked them steel pipes out of there, and I just put the shorter ones in there. They'll ride good in there, and these longer ones I'll just put right on my legs and just take them into the scrapyard, So there's just very little that I've ever found in a dumpster that I can't carry. Not sure exactly what that thing is. Looks like maybe off of a ATV, like a little four-wheeler or something maybe. But this nice aluminum steel, so that's a nice piece of breakage there. That weighs probably maybe 20 pounds. So that'll be worth maybe $2. A couple years ago, that would be worth about $6. So that metal market really changes things. Like today, that's $2, and if you watch this video a year from now, that very well could be a $6 item right there. So you always want to check the dates on my videos when I give out prices. Sometimes I forget to talk about that. And I can't talk about it every time because it gets too redundant. But anyways, that's a nice little piece regardless of the price. I yanked another one of those extremely exciting microwaves out. Little fan action. Those are a really common thing in apartment buildings. See these fan blades here? Someone's taking it apart. I might try to fix it or something. Get the little motor out of there. And then these fan blades have aluminum on there. And some scrap yards will give you just a good clean aluminum price for those. Some scrap yards will just give you dirty aluminum or a aluminum breakage price, because that's a cheap aluminum. It's like mixed in with other stuff, other types of metal. So that's a low quality aluminum. So one scrap yard I go to gives me clean aluminum, and I'll take them off. And another scrap yard I go to gives me aluminum breakage. So when I go to that scrap yard, I just take them in like that right there. You know, there's no sense doing the extra work if you're getting aluminum breakage. You're not going to take the time to take them screws out and stuff, you know. So just snap them off like that. And these fan motors will have little bits of brass on them. See that right there, that chain and that bit, that's brass. And those are really easy. You could just yank them off with your hand almost, really. Just snip them off like that. Snip that piece of wood off of there. And that's all brass right there. So, you know, that's worth taking. You can, if you want to, you can snip all these wires and stuff out and get a low grade copper wire for that. Or you can just leave it in there. You know, it just depends on you. Whatever you want to do. These wires here, you know, they don't really weigh a lot, so it really doesn't matter what you do with them. But you know, if you, like these ones over here, if you just cut all that out of there, that whole clump of stuff comes out, and that'll be all low grade wire. So you eventually get a pound of that, but then it'll only be 15 cents. So it doesn't really matter. There's no great benefit of taking that stuff out of there, but there's a small benefit, you know. Just depends on what you got going on, you know, your personal preference. But I'm gonna take these to the scrap yard that gives me clean aluminum for them. So I'm gonna clean them up real quick. Just gonna take all these screws out. It don't take very long. All right, so it just took a few minutes to do that, and you can just throw that wire in with your low grade wire, and that might be a pound of aluminum, so that's not bad, you know. And then get this motor. So those ceiling fan motors are always good. That's not a bad deal. You get a pound of aluminum, a little bit of low grade wire, and that motor probably weighs about 8 pounds. Some scrap yards will make you take off all this tin and stuff. Like one scrap yard I go to will make you take all this tin off. Just take these nuts off here. But the other scrap yard that gives me clean aluminum for that, just gives you clean motors for that. You don't gotta clean it up or nothing. But you always want to talk to your scrap yard and see what they make you do, so you can get the most benefit out of your money, you know. Like you might not have to, if you don't have to clean that off of there, then there's no reason to do it, you know. And if your scrap yard is going to give you aluminum breakage, 10 cents a pound for that stuff, just as it is, then there's no reason to take it off of there. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason to do extra work. So anyway, that's that. Put that back in there. And I just let them screws just fall all over the ground like that. And I just take my magnet and clean them up real quick like that. That's a real easy way to do that. And I guess that's a wrap. Right, a sneaky little dude. Last night I covered my bike up with my tarp and it rested against that hot muffler pipe coming out of the engine, or the hot exhaust pipe. So all day today I've been driving around smelling burnt plastic. That's gross. Oh, look at that, it's coming off. That's totally burned. That's good. There's just a couple bits left on there. That's kind of neat. I didn't know it would do that. Anyways, not very pleasant. Probably not very good for you either. At least I kept the wind blowing on it. Stopping at red lights and stuff. Stopping at dumpsters. I was catching a big whiff of it. Look at that. That is an amazing find right there. That's absolutely incredible. A roll of electrical tape. I actually like finding stuff like that a lot, because that's stuff I'll never have to buy, you know. I literally have no idea how much that costs at the store. It's just something I'll never have to pay money for ever. YAHTZEE! Nice piece of brass. Oh yeah! Definitely worthy of YAHTZEE. So a lot of times these brass things will have a metal band in there, but it's real easy to get out. You just take your snips like this, and you can just bend that stuff right out there. See how that works like that? That's real easy to do when you're not sitting on a motorcycle and holding a camera in your other hand. You see how that works like that though? So you gotta take that out, but it doesn't take very long to get that out. It's actually quite easy to get those out of there. The rest of that's pure brass, and that weighs a minimum 2 pounds. It might be close to 3 pounds. So that's over $2 right there. I got a nice little load. I got a battery in there, a garbage disposal, another battery in there. That came out of a fire exit sign. And so I got a little load going. Not too bad. So let's see all that, like those tin mop handles and stuff in there. Those are almost worthless, so I just leave them behind. Little foosball action, little tabletop. Oh, it's starting to fall out. Let's see before I start talking if it's actually worth something to talk about. Oh no. Never mind. False alarm. Score! There's some nice little dudes. Couple little gems. Fully intact. All the good stuff's in there. I don't know if a lot of you have seen that or not, but for those of you that might be interested, you can look on my metal scrapping tips playlist, and you can have a look, see what's inside there and how much everything's worth. If you don't know about it, it might be some good information for you.